We're back. The headless YouTuber doing headless planty things with her trusty pug pudge, except I'm showing my face today because I just felt like it. So as the title says, today I'm going to be showing you my Hoya cabinet, which is behind me. I'm not 100% sure what this video is going to do yet. I know I want to give you a tour of the Hoyas that I currently have. I want to show you the setup of it, but I think I might do a little refresh because I'm thinking of removing the cacti down at the bottom and just making it purely a Hoya cabinet. I just don't know where I'll put my cacti. So there's that issue, but we'll see what happens, how this video evolves. I think I'm gonna start by just kind of showing you the setup, and then maybe since I'm gonna have to take everything out, if I do a refresh, I'll just kind of show you one by one all of the Hoyas that I have. So it'll be like a Hoya collection, show and tell, Rudsta cabinet setup / refresh. Does that sound right? That's a lot of work for today. By the way, I had to move my schedule around. Some things came up. I had to move some sponsored videos around. So I'm kind of filming this last minute. I literally just got off of a flight last night. I am feeling like a corpse. I feel like I look like a corpse. I'm very tired, but I have missed my plans. It's been a long weekend. And I'm kind of just excited to not be behind a computer today and just play with plants. I think before I take everything out, I'll just show you how it's currently set up, and then we'll start pulling some Hoyas out. Sound like a plan? Does that sound good to you? Yeah? Okay. Welcome to the Rudsta Hoya cabinet. She has definitely evolved a lot since the first time I would have shown you guys this cabinet, when it was just a few Hoyas and some cacti. Down here are my cacti. I have moved some cacti to my windowsill in my bedroom, which is why there's not a ton here. But I'm thinking of moving all of these out so that I can remove this shelf and just do all Hoyas and just no shelf in here. So obviously this is the Rudsta wide. I don't actually know what it's just part of the Rudsta line. I think now they've made one that's like half the size but taller. And I was thinking of getting that one to put next to here, but I ended up not going that direction because I was going to try and make a second Hoya cabinet. But now I think that I'm just gonna remove this shelf and just do one big Hoya cabinet and try and find another spot for my cacti. So you can see right here, I have one grow light. This is the Monios 24-watt light bar. I only have one, and I've placed the shield here because it's got like the sort of rounded bulb and it's very, very bright. So in order to not be blinded when you walk by the Rudsta, you kind of have to use this shield. But it's kind of nice because it like pushes all the light this way rather than letting it come out of the front. I also have another bar down here for the cacti, but obviously once I remove the shelf, I'm gonna have to remove the light. I'm just not sure if it's gonna be bright enough, so I might just do two lights up here so that some of them can get more sun stressed and the ones down at the bottom can get enough light. What else do I want to show you? I think maybe I'll remove the camera and give you some close-ups of the setup. Hopefully this lighting is okay. Let's just start in the corner. So I have, oh, it's not focusing. I have a grid back here that I got from Oomomo. They're just hanging by these magnetic hooks, and I just got them on Amazon. I'll try and link everything that I've used in this Rudsta cabinet in the description below. Hopefully I can find everything. But yeah, these hooks are very strong. I think it holds like 20 pounds or something. So I have two hooks at the top and it's holding all of these things on the wall. And I have some of them just kind of hooked on to the grid wall. And then I have some of them that are a little bit heavier also hooked onto the magnetic hooks. And I've done this a few times in other videos, but the way that I hook it is I just use an awl and I poke a hole in the plastic cups and then I just hang it. Otherwise, I have other things in here just using suction hooks. I've got another magnetic hook up there and I've just tied it by string. What else? I have some risers. So this is like a plant stand that I've put in the back to lift up my Hoya Obovata just to kind of give it some levels. Obviously with my glassware, I'm not able to just like poke a hole and like let it hang. And also this Hoya is getting very big. I'll show it to you when I take everything out. What else? Yeah, you know, it's a pretty easy setup. I will say the only thing that I really don't like about my cabinet right now is this light situation, because nothing will freaking stick to the top of this Rudsta. So I've had to zip tie it and it looks really ugly and gross, but one day I'll get that figured out, just not anytime soon. I've got some dead Spanish moss in the corner here. I know it's dead and ugly, but I just kind of like that it makes it look a little bit more wild. And I think over this summer, I'm going to try and collect more air plants and do some more research on air plants to see how to keep them alive, because I'm so bad with them. But I'd love to kind of place like more Spanish moss in here once I get like the grid fully built, and add more air plants and just kind of make it look a little bit more scaped, I guess, without needing to add like an actual moss wall or anything. Oh, this is getting squished. Whoa, look how big this got. It was just a tiny little thing when I left for the weekend. Okay, so down here, like I said, are my cacti, and they are doing really well in here, but I just really want to make this into a Hoya cabinet. Do you guys remember all these little balls that I picked up from Vandula? They are not balls anymore. They're so tall. And there was like a really mean person that left a comment and was like, "You're so stupid for putting cacti in a cabinet. They're all gonna die." Where? They're all loving it in here. I'm so sorry for Pudge's snoring in the background. What else do I want to show you? I feel like that's it. Like every time I've posted my cabinet on my stories or my Instagram, people have always said like, oh, like I want to do that setup, and like I just don't know how. And honestly, it's so simple. All you need are grids and magnetic hooks and suction cups, and it's just really a matter of like trying to fit as many in there as you can. I think the goal for me though is to have more Hoyas hanging off the back, because all of these ones in glassware are eventually just gonna sit on the bottom here, but I'd love for it to look a little bit more full. I'm just not quite sure I have everything I need. I don't have very many more of these magnetic hooks, and I'd want to add one more grid down here, so I'm just not sure I can make it happen. Yeah, guys, that's it. It's really, really simple. So if you've been wanting to do a setup like this, I'll give you some close-up shots. It's really, really not all that complicated. By the way this Spanish moss is hanging is just to cover the cord that snakes through the back. So if you've been looking for a way to hide cord, Spanish moss is a great option. And then I just use like stands and other pots to prop up some of the other Hoyas to give it some level, because a lot of them are in the same size pot. They're very small. So I do try and like play around with different heights and stuff. So anyway, that is the cabinet. Nothing super complicated or special. It's just, it is what it is. It's not even like weather sealed or anything. I just didn't want it to be too humid in here because of the cacti. I just think that everything in here is loving the heat. Like that's one thing. It is maybe around like 45% humidity, but it's very hot in here. So they just all have been loving it. I think what I'll do now is just start taking them out and kind of showing you all of the Hoyas that I have. And then, I don't know, I'll see if I can do the refresh, but part of me is thinking that that's gonna have to be a part 2. Pudge might start barking in the background because I just locked him in the bedroom. But hopefully I gave you guys some good shots of the Hoya cabinet before, but I was very hungry when I was filming it and I was like super shaky, so I just scarfed down some lunch and now I feel better. But anyway, oh, my baby girl. Oh, it's just you. Hi. What are you doing? You're gonna eat lunch?
No.
You're gonna eat lunch? Show me what you're eating.
Can you say oatmeal, strawberries, and pickle?
Oh my, no. Going straight for the pickle. Sorry, daily FaceTime with my niece, but I'm back now. Okay. So I'm just gonna start from the corner and just kind of work my way up this way, I think. Ugh, I really don't want to take it. Maybe I should take a picture of it first so that I know how to rearrange it back, maybe? All right, so we'll just start over here. Just FYI, as usual, I'm not gonna know the names of all of them, especially the Hoyas, but I'll insert it over here. So the first one is a Xerosicyos dengui, and I think this was the second one that I ever got. I know that Jing got me one, and then I think I got the second one in California from a nursery. Yeah, I just loved my first one so much that when I saw this for sale at a nursery for a really good price, I just couldn't really pass it up. This one is in soil and doing really well. Almost everything in here is in no drainage pots. The second one, wow, I didn't even know this one was pushing out growth. Let me put this down. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. This is my first Xerosicyos dengui. I think this is the one that I got from Jing. Look at the new growth there. Oh my gosh, it's so happy. There's two plants in here. So this one was the original. I propagated this one here, stuck it back in, and I guess chopping it activated this one. And then there's also a second one growing right here. I really don't like showing my face in the viewfinder because it's harder for the plants to focus. I might go headless in a couple minutes if it gets too frustrating. This one is in mostly lechuzapon and a little bit of perlite and then some leca up at the top to stabilize it a bit. I might combine my two pots just because now it's getting a little lanky this way, whereas I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more bushy, which is why I propagated this, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, I don't know yet. I'm so tired. I don't have it in me today. I'm gonna have to do laundry and finish my taxes. No. Oh gosh, what is the name of this one? I don't remember the name of this one, you guys. I got it from Alice. I think it was always it was always a 2-leaf. I've never had a new one in my care yet, but you can kind of see on the stem it started to rot, and then I just used my scraper and sort of picked away at it, and then I just like kind of doused it in hydrogen peroxide. I hope I was able to save it. But yeah, I really like this one. I just really enjoy the Hoyas that have this sort of reptilian sort of texture. Like you can see the dark green veining. I'm not a huge fan of the super splashy Hoyas, but I really like the ones that have very subtle splash on it. This is a Hoya that is like right down my, this is a Hoya that's right down my alley. Is that the phrase? I don't remember. I think at this point, Alice just knows the kinds of Hoyas that I'm into. And so anytime she has a chance to chop them for me, she always does. And that's why she's the greatest pal. Same with Jing and everyone else that's giving me Hoyas. This is a, wow, look at the algae on this one, you guys. This is a Hoya Fu. You would think that I would remember this after the What's in the Box game, but of course I don't. Hoya fuawensis or something. Fuawensis. Because I said fukukinesis. I know that wasn't right. So I think it's like fuawensis or something. I love this Hoya so freaking much, and I was so happy to get a new growth point down at the bottom. I think the last time that I showed this plant, it was just a tiny little nub, and then it pushed this out and no leaves. So I got a runner guy. I'm still not really sure the growth habits or patterns of Hoyas. I just really enjoy the very subtle fuzziness of this plant. I know it's really hard to tell, but it's super fuzzy, and then the leaves are so stiff. I actually think, besides my parasitica, this one has to be one of like the stiffest leaves. I swear it doesn't even feel real. It feels like it's like made out of stone. But again, I love the very subtle splash on the dark green leaves. I think what really gets me about this plant, like I said, is the fuzziness. I think if it wasn't fuzzy, I wouldn't love it as much as I do now. Any Hoya that's super fuzzy, I'm into it. And yeah, this one has actually been pretty easy to care for. I think that these are the only 2 leaves I've ever grown in my care, but otherwise it's been kind of a slow grower, dormant guy. But you know, it's alive and kicking, and I think it's seemingly happy despite living in an algae-ridden vessel. So this one is kind of my underdog favorite right now. This is a Ikea Rudsta. I think I'm saying that right. I loved this one off the bat when I first got it because of, again, look at the fuzziness, and they're like little hollow balls. I want to squeeze one so bad. I just want to like pop it, but I'm not going to. But I get cute aggression where I have to like scrunch my fist and like my jaw gets, you know. So anyway, yeah, this one wasn't really doing anything for a long time, and it was kind of just this single strand just looking kind of like in the cabinet. But then it started waking up and it pushed out this guy here, and oh my gosh, the fuzz. I can't with the fuzz. It is so freaking fuzzy. I'm gonna insert a photo here of a photo I took of it that is a little bit clearer where you can see like the texture of the fuzz and stuff, and this Ikea is amazing. I love it. I think once it gets a little bit more bushy, I'll love it a lot more. It took me a while to kind of figure out what it liked. I do find this one to be a little bit more finicky than my other Ikias. I do have a Ikea Oyantha, and I think that's actually the only other Ikea I have. And the Ikea Oyantha is just set it, forget it, don't even bother it, and it's happy. So this one has required a little bit more, but it's been worth the wait because these little leaves are just so precious. Next up, oh. She finally croaked. My sad little ping. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I just wasn't meant to have a ping. But honestly, I kept this one alive for a good amount of time, and then I tried to like be fancy and I repotted it out of that little to-go cup that it was in for a while. It was in just straight up moss, and it dried out so fast all the time. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna like give it some, well, no, actually I moved it into, I think I moved it into pond or something, and was like, oh, you're gonna be so happy, you're gonna love this. And then it just completely threw a fit. So I was like, okay, I'll put it back in moss, but I'm gonna add some leca down at the bottom since it's always thirsty and I can keep like a reserve. Hated it. So that's effectively dead. You've seen this one recently. This one is mushy. This one's dead, dying. Oh no. Oh no. No! No! This one's not doing great. I struggle with the Serpens. I repotted this one recently in I think it was a week of plant to-dos, and I was showing you guys all these new tiny little leaves that were coming out, and now it's just so sad and drying and crisping. This is my Hoya Serpens. I was going to try and buy like a big bushy one that's already like established and like okay, but now I just don't even really trust myself with them. But this one is definitely one of my favorite Hoyas, and I've said that a million bajillion times on this channel. I love everything about this plant, but I just find it to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, lawnmowers are here. I'm gonna take a coffee break and I'll be right back. My husband got me this Evian water from the airport. Evian is gross, so I just added Gatorade powder because the water's nasty. Let's continue. Oh, she's thirsty. I have never seen this plant so thirsty before. This is my Hoya Mathilde, and typically you can't see all of these veins in the leaf. These leaves are actually very fat and plump, but she's parched. Let me just put some water in it. Oh no. I've actually never seen it this dehydrated before. Typically it's pretty drought tolerant, and even when I'm not very good at watering my Hoyas, this one usually is able to retain a lot of water in there for a while, but Jeez. All of this right here is brand new in the center. There's like a totally new growth point coming. Haven't really had much growth from this lower plant and then also this one. So there's kind of like 3 separate sort of growth points happening here. Not really much to say about this plant. I would say that this is a fairly easy Hoya if you've never had a Hoya before and you kind of want to get into Hoyas. It doesn't really require much besides water, obviously. Oh man, I'm fading fast, y'all. Next one is my Hoya Bertonier. And honestly, I saw another Hoya at Lauren's greenhouse that looked very similar and I could have sworn it was the Bertonier, but I think it was just like a little bit rounder and not as like long, but it was something else. And I don't think that it was fuzzy if I can remember, but these ones are so fuzzy. They feel like a teddy bear. They're so nice. And I kind of like that it has these sort of like burgundy leaf edges and then just like this dark green in the center. But honestly, it's the texture that gets me. If this wasn't fuzzy, again, I don't think that I would have wanted it as much. You guys really have to get one of these. I promise you won't regret it. This one has been fairly easy for me as well. Look at the algae in here. I've got to do a lot of algae cleanup. Do I have it in me today? Absolutely not. Oh, my back's itchy. Oh. This is another Dischidia something. Just at the store, I think they call it like a watermelon Dischidia. I know that's not what it's called, but they look like little watermelons. And I wanted this for a really long time. They started selling this locally in pretty large baskets, but I didn't need that much. I really just wanted a little teeny tiny strand, and my friend Nessa gave me one a while back. It died. She gave me another one, and this one is doing much better than the last. I'm not really sure what the difference was in care. I did both have them in pon, same conditions, stuck it in the Rudsta, but for some reason this one is just has done so much better than the other one. I hope I can get some extra growth points to wake up on this thing so that it gets a little bit bushier, but I am not mad at it. It's a little cutie. I like it. I like it. I don't know the name of this. Hoya. Nope, nothing. I got nothing, you guys. I got this one from Jing, I think. Not much else to say about it. Got it from Jing. It's really cute. I like it. Don't know the name of it. This one has been really easy too. I think that I have another one that's sort of similar. The Hoya Obovata Splash. Very like similar variegation on it. This one doesn't look variegated. Oh yeah, it's got a little bit of the splash. There's a new leaf and I was like, oh, it looks all green. But yeah, these look very similar. Obviously, they're not the same at all. This one kind of has like a pinky color. If it sun stresses, I think, like on the emergent leaves, they're actually pink, but I think it might harden off to white. This one's not super close to a grow light, but yeah, these ones are fun. This one is, yeah, Hoya Obovata Splash, I think. Is this from Jing? I think this is from Alice. I can't keep track anymore. They just throw things at me. So yeah, these ones are fun. I don't have many Hoyas like this, like variegated. It's not really my preferred kind of Hoya, but it is nice to have them sort of spread out amongst my other Hoyas that all look very similar, I would say, in like color, texture, leaf shape. It's a nice break, it's a nice contrast. So yeah, I actually am enjoying these quite a bit. I don't like seeing my face in the viewfinder. All right, oh no, a leaf. I really don't want to take these things off. Next one, this is a Hoya parasitica. I don't know if they call it Hoya parasitica Splash or if it's just Hoya parasitica. I did see some of these at Lauren's greenhouse as well, but they were much more splashy than this. The newest leaf is this one, and there's almost no splash on it, but I'd be kind of interested to see if any of the other leaves that come out of this in the future will have splash, although I really don't mind that it doesn't. I quite enjoy this leaf texture, this leaf shape. I know it's not fuzzy, but I don't know. I really like it. I really like the very subtle venation of this. And then also the little teeny tiny splashes. I actually prefer it more than this leaf. But yeah, if you've never seen a parasitica in person, these are very, very, very stiff. They're like little dinner plates. This one hasn't given me any trouble. So another easy Hoya if you guys are looking for some starter Hoyas. I always tell my friends, don't give me any like super rare or like finicky or hard Hoyas because I don't know anything about Hoyas. This is a Hoya Sunrise, I believe. I've been trying to sun stress this one, but I really got to get it way closer to a grow light. In hindsight, I wish I had potted this in something plastic so that I could put a hole and stick it like at the very top where it can be close to a grow light. But I opted for this because it was the only thing I had, and I want to have some depth and height differences in the cabinet, so I wanted something a little bit taller. But yeah, this one's really fun. This one has, again, like that very subtle splashiness of it. I really, really love when these plants get super sun stressed because it gets really red. And I do have one sun stressed Hoya in there that I will show you in a bit. I have to catch my breath. But hopefully over the summer I can get this one nice and red. This one started to sun stress like on this lower leaf, but then it kind of stopped and now it's sort of turning yellow. Not sure what that means. Oh my gosh, I'm so nasally. Who do I want to do next? Oh, this is my Hoya heushkeliana variegata. There's something. Jing's gonna hate me. I'm gonna have to send her so many screenshots of this video to help me ID, but I got this one from Jing. My friend Natasha had or has a very large one of this plant. Ow, my back. I think I have a mosquito bite on my back. Oh, it's just so bad. She has like a big trailing pot of this, and ever since I saw it on her Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, that Hoya is so pretty. I need it, but it looked very high maintenance. It looked like one that would be hard to grow, but I've just had this one in a prop box to try and get it rooted, and why am I itchy? It's been really easy and low maintenance. I haven't had any new growth on it so far, but I think that's because it's been working on roots, which is completely understandable since it was a newer cutting. I very recently transferred it to Pawn, and I'm not seeing any new roots just yet. But hopefully soon. But yeah, this one's really pretty, really fun. I can't wait till it starts trailing. I'm contemplating taking a nap and then starting this up again tomorrow. I am so tired from traveling yesterday. I'm an old lady. This one is a Hoya Xerosicyos. Got this one from Alice. I've talked a little bit about it already on my channel in another Hoya video. Not much to say about it. It is another super easy Hoya. It hasn't thrown any tantrums, hasn't given me any trouble since I've had it. It's living pretty happily in Pawn and looks very, very pretty when it's sun stressed. So I think this is another one that I'm gonna try and sun stress if I can. But otherwise, if it doesn't, I actually really like the color of this one as well. It's like this very dark purple, but there's like some green undertones in it, and then it's got this nice little splash on it. So yeah, not much else to say about that one. I feel like I'm getting repetitive here. I can't remember the last time I would have shown this on my channel, but it has grown quite a bit. It's starting to trail a lot more now. I think this is a Hoya Xerosicyos. Hoya Xerosicyos? Right, there's some new growth right here. Got a brand new teeny tiny leaf right here. Some new growth here. There was some new growth up at the tip and then it fell off. It broke, I don't know why. Look at the algae on this one. Oh my gosh. I think I need to do like a Hoya, like a dedicated Hoya repotting video because a lot of these are super, super algae ridden. But to be honest, most of the algae is just along the edges of the vessel, so I'm not super worried. It's just kind of not great to look at. I love the texture of this one. It's very like wrinkly and like, it looks like it's got abs. I think that's the term, or like that's how Alice describes it as, is like, looks like it's got little teeny tiny abs. It also has a little bit of splashiness to it, but I think the thing I like most about this plant is just how dark it is. Like these leaves literally look like they're black. It's very hard to photograph the texture of this plant. I've tried to photograph it multiple times, but it's just a little bit difficult to capture like the abs and like the definition of these leaves in photos. I think I'll try again now that it's a little bit bigger, but I think I'll wait till these guys kind of grow so that it's a bit more of a fuller plant. But yeah, this one's really easy actually. I hope I'm not getting sick. There were so many unmasked people at the airport. You're supposed to be masked, except if you're eating, and there's so many people that weren't eating or drinking and they're just coughing, and like, even if it's not COVID, it's like, I don't want to get sick. If you're sick, keep your mask on, dang it. And I woke up this morning just feeling like crap. Yeah, I really hope I'm not sick because May is a very busy month. I think when I do the refresh in here, I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to do it because my eyes are actually burning. Like they feel hot. I'm really tired, and I don't know if you could see it, but my eyes are super heavy. Like my eye bags are just really bad. I think we're about halfway now, but these ones I feel like you've seen. A lot of my newer ones are on the wall. This is another Hoya Obovata. This was the first one that I ever had. I think I got this one from Jing. I think she gave it to me as a 2-leaf cutting, or maybe just this one, and then it pushed out this one. This is the newer one here. I just love, ow, something poked me. I love this plant so much. I know it's not fuzzy, and fuzzy is my thing, but the Hoya Obovata is just, it gets me, which is why I have another big one that is probably one of my favorite Hoyas right now, and I actually find it very easy to grow. They love pond. They also love soil, so I just think that the common denominator for this plant is the no drainage. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I've heard people struggle with this plant a lot, and this was one of the first Hoyas that I ever owned, and yeah, it's been kind of a dream. So let me show you my bigger Hoya Obovata. I don't know if you guys remember this from when I came back from California. It was just a bunch of like stems that I potted together, but it was not nearly this big. Pretty much all of this that you see up at the top, all of these are brand new leaves. It has just completely taken off. It acclimatized really well. It transplanted really well, and there's new growth everywhere. So this entire stem here is brand new. All of these leaves on here were not here when I first got the plant. This is new. All of this right here is new. These 2 back leaves, this one. This one is a very thirsty Hoya in my opinion. It requires a lot of water. It dries out really fast. These leaves hold a lot of water, so when I water the vessel when it's really dehydrated, I tend to overwater it because I know a lot of that water is going to move into these big chunky leaves. So I want to make sure that there's enough water that's going to go into the plant, as well as have a little bit left down at the reserve for when it needs more. And this one is also a heavy feeder, so I'm actually foliar feeding it more than I'm feeding it in the substrate. Right now I'm just doing either a liquid gold leaf and CalMag foliar spray, or I'm doing the Miracle Grow orchid spray that was suggested to me by people on YouTube when I did a little feature on my Hoyas, and that was like the best advice ever, because I feel like the plants were doing really well with the fertilizer I was using before, but it wasn't until I started using the orchid spray that the growth just freaking took off, and the leaves actually look a lot healthier now, like the new leaves. There was a leaf that came in when I wasn't feeding with Miracle Grow. I think it was this one right here, and you can kind of see it's a little bit mangled and warped, and it was a little bit underdeveloped, like it didn't fully sort of, you know, open up or like fully form. But a lot of the new leaves now are like these nice round paddles, like they're so cute. I love this so much. There was a Instagram post that I came across a couple months ago of a girl that had like a humongous trailing Hoya Obovata, and I was like, oh, I want that. This one is probably one of my most I guess, popular plants on Instagram. When I post this plant, it always gets way more like engagement and likes and views than any other plant I post. So this one is definitely an Instagram favorite, and it's a favorite of mine as well. Here's another one. It looks like the Hoya Xerosicyos, but it's not. This one was struggling a little bit. It was like on its last leg. There were more leaves down here that fell off, and then we were kind of left with this, and then it pushed out these two like in the last, I don't know, maybe month or so, and now this little stem has woken up and kind of popped out of nowhere. But yeah, I'm still not really sure what this thing likes and doesn't like, but look at the algae, it's so bad. Yeah, not really much to say about this. I do very much enjoy the silveriness of this Hoya. I think it's really, really beautiful, and I totally understand people that really love the Hoyas with super, super silver leaves, like the Hoya Ghost something, I don't remember, but it's super silvery, but I've heard it's really expensive. And yeah, they are beautiful. I would love to maybe have like one more Hoya that has this kind of color and variegation, but like a much bigger leaf, if I'm sure that exists. But this is a nice contrast inside of the Rudsta, and it would be nice to maybe have another one. This is my Hoya patchyclada. This one was doing really well, and then it wasn't doing really well. I had two new leaves up at the top that came out maybe in the last 3 weeks, and then like they fully formed. They were probably around this big, if not a little bit bigger, and then one day they both just fell off. Like they didn't even turn yellow, like they didn't show signs that they were stressed or anything. They looked just like this, but then they just fell off. They were just on the floor of my Rudsta. So, and then shortly after those fell off, this little growth point down here, you probably won't be able to see it. It's like inside of the substrate, it's like right there. It started to wake up, it turned bright green, like it was gonna push something out, and then it just dried up. So, I don't know. I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about this setup. I've been wanting to get it off of this for a while now, and I think I might do sort of a lazy pull situation so that it's a little bit more hydrated and wet. This is very algae ridden, so I need to get it cleaned, and honestly, I think this plant would do so much better in pond rather than leca. So this is pretty high on my Hoya repot list because this is one of my favorite. If you're a thrip, I'm gonna scream. Oh, it's moss. I was like, I never get thrips on Hoyas. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. I just love how fuzzy these leaves are. I love the shape of these leaves. I love everything about it. Oh my gosh, so I just wanna break it. It's weird. I just wanna like snap it in half. Why do I have these urges? Yeah, this one is a cutie, so I need to treat her better because she deserves more. This is one of my newer ones. I do have a name for it, obviously. Hoya sp Tangamus. Hoya sp Tangamus. I don't know. This is one of my new favorites. It is incredible. I love, love, love this leaf. It's beautiful. It looks like a reptile. It makes me want a reptile. And before I left for LA for the weekend, this new leaf was like this tiny. It was a cutie little nub, and then just freaking over the weekend it blew up. I don't know what these yellow spots are though. Is that normal? That doesn't look normal to me. There's like these like yellowy spots on them. It's incredible how huge these leaves get when they come out like this small. You would just think like, oh, it's gonna be a small leaf, but this thing is really soft still. Like I think it's gonna be growing a lot more, but yeah, this leaf is really beautiful. I do love the reptilian looking Hoyas now. I was not into it before, but now they make me so happy. Speaking of reptilian Hoyas, you guys have seen this one before. This is my Hoya callistophylla. I've seen people sell some as long leaf and short leaf or something, but I feel like it could just be growing conditions. I don't know, because There was one where it said it was a Hoya shortleaf, and then the new leaf that came out on it was super long, so I don't know. This one used to have one more leaf on this little runner guy, and then again, it looked just like this. It looked totally fine, and then one day it just fell the hell off. So, yeah, I don't know. This one has been really fun to watch grow though. It started as a 2-leaf cutting. It was these two down here, and then these two came out, which are literally the most perfect leaves ever. I've taken so many photos of these. They're like the twins. So beautiful. And then these random guys. I think it's probably looking for something to climb. I think once I do the refresh in my cabinet, I'll try and get it on some sort of trellis thing to like, I don't know, go like that, or maybe climb the wall in the Rudsta. I'm not really sure, but this thing is long, and I was thinking of chopping it, maybe like cutting it here and then repotting it, but I feel like people just kind of let their Hoyas grow this way and just get really long, which is why most people use trellises, but I'm not really a fan of the trellis thing, so I don't know, we'll see. My nose is so runny. Oh my gosh. I better not be getting sick. I feel like I have a cold or something. Like my nose is runny and I'm just feeling really tired and not well. That's what happens when I leave the house. I just get sick. I wish I remembered what this was. My friend Lauren, who is the owner at North Shore Tropicals, surprised me with this guy, and I think she just kind of knows that this is like right up my alley. They're so, I can't even. They're fuzzier than the Hoya Bertonier. They're very similar in the way they feel. This one is just a little bit more fuzzy. Definitely the emergent leaves, like this one right here, is super duper 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 fuzzy, but as it hardens off, it kind of loses that fuzziness a little bit. And it does feel, actually, this feels less fuzzy than a Hoya Bertonier. It feels very much like a Hoya fuensis. Is that what I'm thinking of? I don't know. I always try and explain textures to you guys because that's one thing I really love about plants, are the texture of it. Stop focusing on my face. So yeah, of course I'm gonna insert what the name is, but this is just so cute and so fun. It's doing really well in soil, but I think I might transfer this to pond as well. I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue what this one is. This was probably one of my more neglected Hoyas when I got it, not because I don't love it, but because I was too lazy to repot it. It was in a pot with drainage, and I didn't have a clear vessel or like a tray to put it in, or a cover pot, and so I kind of just like put it in a tiny tray at the bottom, and I filled it with water, and it would just dry out so fast. So yeah, it started to get really stressed. I got these like splotchy yellow patches, and it just completely dehydrated. So finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna repot it because I just want it to like look alive and do something. And so as soon as I got it into here, this little nubby guy sort of poked out and woke up. I think that these leaves will not look any better than they look now, but hopefully I can get some new growth on this one. I feel like I haven't really seen the potential of this plant yet, but I'm gonna try. I'll do better, I promise. Not a Hoya. This one's a little bit struggling. Oh my gosh. All these leaves are gonna be everywhere. This is my Euphorbia. Euphorbia something, can't remember. This is the one that Alice picked up for me in Montreal. This was a wish list plant for a long time, but honestly, I don't know what it wants. I don't know what it wants. I don't know what it needs. It does this thing where it sheds all of its leaves and then it pushes out new leaves again. And I don't know if that's normal, if that's like just how it grows, but all of these yellow leaves that you see were like so happy like last week. And it was thriving, and I just don't know, like, is it supposed to be watered a lot? Is it supposed to dry out? I don't really know. I can't see what's going on in here because it's not in a no drainage pot, but my little tree is just, it grows and then it dies and then it grows, and I don't know. I just don't know enough about this plant to be able to give any insight into what it likes. All I can say right now is it's hanging on for dear life. and I feel like it's always on the brink of death, kind of, and then it comes back, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. But I do really love it, and I think it's a great addition to this cabinet because it's like a mini tree, and it just looks, I don't know, it just makes it look so wild and like dongly in there, and it's just perfect. So love, that's still one of my favorites, even though we don't understand each other. This one is another plant that I really don't know much about. This is a dioon edule, and it grows from a little teeny tiny seed like that. And just by looking at it, you would kind of think this maybe feels like a fern or something, but it is very, very stiff. Like, it's hard to bend this. It's not very fragile at all. It's actually very, very rigid. These leaves up here are bent because when it was growing up against something, and now it's kind of stuck like that forever. But I just don't know what it wants. It's supposed to put out more of these like sort of frond thingies. And typically on the big ones, there's leaves all down this little spine. But I've got like a little seed potato. Like, you know when you let a potato sit in your pantry for too long and then it starts to sprout? I feel like that's what this guy is. That's the energy I'm getting from him. But I don't know, it's kind of cute. I just need to research more about it because I don't know what it wants. I'm realizing now that some of these I wasn't supposed to show until a future video that I've already filmed but isn't scheduled to go out until after this video, so oh well. Let's move right along. I don't even know where to go. Okay, let's grab this guy. I actually don't know the name of this. I think it's a type of orchid cactus, and this one is just so beautiful when it sun stresses. My friend Jing has the mother plant. She gave me a little cutting, and I'll throw up a photo here, but I'm pretty sure if I can remember correctly, hers is like very pink, and the I've seen some being sold locally, and it's just like a huge pink plant, and it's so nice. So I do have this one closer to the grow light, and I'm trying to bring out some of that pink. And I think even on these little like edges here, like you see where it kind of like has those ruffles, or I don't know, there's like little balls that form on them. I don't know if I'm thinking of a different plant, but I'm pretty sure it could be this one, and I feel like it's starting on this one. Like, stop focusing on my face. This is so frustrating, you guys. I don't like filming with my face. Do you see like right there, there's like a little ball forming? Like these teeny tiny balls like form in these little crevices, and they're so cute. This next one has been struggling, and it is still struggling. Oh my goodness, a lot. This is my Hoya Volana. This is the one I talked about in another Hoya video where I dropped something on it, it cracked this leaf, it broke off like all of these other leaves, and it's just this pathetic looking thing now. But look, you guys, there's like some crazy like mold action happening right here. So that is a sure sign that this one is too dirty, too algae ridden, and I gotta get it clean because that is nasty. And also there's not much airflow in here. There's like no fans or anything. So if things are a little bit too hot and stagnant for too long, sometimes you'll see some of that mold forming on the top of the substrate. So I need to get this one cleaned out. Don't like that. This one is a Hoya Xerosicyos. I'm not saying that right. Xerosicyos. I got this one from Jing recently too. This was one of the times where I owed her money for something, and it was a very little amount. It was like, I don't know, it was like $5 or $10 or something. And I was like, I don't want to be charged a $1 and $50 fee from my bank for an e-transfer. Sell me something so that it feels worth it. And so she sold me this. And this one is so yummy. Is that a lawnmower? It came as a one leaf cutting, and very quickly after I brought it home, it pushed out this guy, which is a little chunky chunk. And then I have a new leaf coming here. So yeah, seems happy. Love the texture of this leaf. I love the dark veins, the very subtle like light green splashes, and just like the texture of it. You can see it in this light. The veins sort of protrude a little bit, and it's just got a really, really nice texture. So I will say that this is probably one of my newer favorites, along with my other one that I showed you, that big one, this guy. And I feel like I will be collecting a lot more of these kinds of Hoyas in the future, which is why I want to clear up some space, because as you could see in the beginning of this video, we are maxed out for space, or at least getting close to it. I don't know what this is, my Hoya ghost. I put the little ghost in there so I remember that it had ghost in the name, but now I don't remember anything else about it. I got this one for Christmas from Jing. I got it the same time as Alice got her cutting, and hers already has like freaking 4 leaves or something, and mine hasn't woken up yet. I can see this little point on the stem where it like wants to do something, but it's looked like that forever and it just doesn't want to wake up. So I don't know what it wants, but honestly I'm just happy this leaf is alive. Jing said that once this plant gets going, it grows really, really fast, and I'm really excited because I love the color of this leaf. I think she said that these used to be really expensive or like considered rare for Hoyas, but now they've come down a lot in price. They're more common now. But honestly, I would not be able to tell the difference between an expensive Hoya or a rare Hoya opposed to like something that was like cheaper that you could find at a garden center. I don't know anything about Hoyas. I don't do any Hoya research. I don't know why, I just don't have that interest that I do with aroids. With aroids, I can just go down the rabbit hole of forums, reading articles, going through just like pages and pages and pages of research. I just want to know everything about it, the history, where it was cultivated, who discovered it, like everything. But with Hoyas, it's like I just don't care. I have no urge to know more about them than what they look like and which ones I want. I don't know why, it's just the interest for me is not there. I like the way this looks. I like that my ghost has a friend, and they go really well together, besides the fact it's in this ugly little cup, but what are you gonna do? I told you guys I liked Hoya Obovatas. This was the rehab Hoya Obovata I got from my mom. She was literally gonna throw it away because she got her big Hoya Obovata the same time that I got mine, and she had this one. She's like, I don't want this one anymore, because it was very rehabby. It was like super, super like yellow and just light green and just looked kind of sickly. But it has started to bounce back a little bit. This is a new leaf that came out in my care, and you can see it's a little bit darker than like this one here. And this guy is gonna push out something really soon. I don't know, I just didn't want to give up on this guy. It was a nice specimen still, even if I had to start over from like sticks and just like cut off all these ugly leaves. But I don't know, I have it in there. I just felt like it deserved a chance, and I'm glad that I gave it a chance because it's waking up. And if this is anything like my other Hoya Obovata, I think that we can glow it up pretty well. Oh man, you guys, this one, my Hoya Wayetii, this is the one that I got from Vandula Farms a long time ago, and it's so light. I need to repot this. It's still in the original nursery soil, which is basically just peat moss. There's like little to no nutrition in here. I think the only fertilizer that it's really, really getting right now is through foliar sprays, but it is so happy. It has definitely doubled in size. All of these dark leaves that you see up here are brand new. A lot of these lower leaves are brand new. Lots of new growth, lots of new stems just waking up from the base, and it's just getting really bushy. So I'm actually quite happy with how this has grown. It's very close to my grow light, which I think is why it's drying out so fast. I've just been kind of scared to repot it because it's trailing so nicely. Like, I think if I did transplant this out of here, I would literally just pluck it out of here, stick it into a larger pot of soil, and just leave it. Like, I don't want to separate this. I just really like the way this is cascading. It looks so beautiful in my Hoya cabinet. And when I bought this originally, I was like, I want a Hoya for my shelf, this shelf that's just trailing and nice. And it was nice on the shelf, but as soon as I moved it into the Hoya cabinet, I was like, this is what the cabinet was missing, and it just tied in everything together. It just made it look fuller. So yeah, I really love this one. This is one of those Hoyas that I've liked from the very beginning. When I didn't own any Hoyas, I was like, there's this Hoya that kind of looks like string beans or green beans or something, and I really love it, but I don't want to give in. So of course, once I went down the Hoya hole, I had to get one. It's just that all the other ones that I saw sold locally were a little bit sad looking, very leggy, just long runners with like a few leaves up at the top. So when Vandula got these really bushy guys in for $9.99, I was like, you're coming home with me. I'm tired and I'm hot. It's hot in here. It's like there's not many left, but I'm still overwhelmed. Okay. This next one is a Hoya manipurensis. This one had a lot more leaves when I first got it. It had 2 leaves at the very bottom, 2 leaves here, and then 2 leaves here. So it's dropped like 6 to 8 leaves. And my friend Nikki did warn me that this one is a little bit more of a finicky Hoya. I didn't really believe her at first, because when I first brought it home, I was like, oh, it's so happy, it's pushing out all these leaves. And she was like, what? Like, that's crazy. But then I touched it, and ever since then it was kind of like on the decline, but it seems to have stabilized a little bit, except last week it pushed out 2 new leaves up at the top, and then it just fell off. I don't know about this plant, you guys. I don't know what it wants. I don't know what it needs. I just kind of make sure it has water, and I leave it alone, and I don't touch it. And I'm never gonna repot this ever again. It's hot. Okay, this is one of the newer ones. This is my Hoya Morellii, and I don't know why I keep wanting to call it a Meredithii. I never really realized how much I loved sun-stressed Hoyas until I saw the Hoya Sunrise. And then now that I have this in my cabinet, it's such a nice contrast to like all of the green Hoyas, and now I just want more sun-stressed Hoyas. But I love how big these leaves are. The size of these are nothing compared to her mother plant. Her mother plant leaves are like bigger than my palm. But this was like one of the bigger props that she had from it. So obviously I had to take it home. But yeah, like this guy looks like it's drying out. And this guy kind of looks like it's drying out too. Like you can see it's like dry. So I can probably just break these off because it's kind of taking up a lot of space in there. I don't really know. Do you guys, can someone give me any insight into why these like runner things dry out so fast sometimes? Like, I thought it could be a watering thing, but some of my plants that are like in passive hydro that are growing really well and pushing out leaves, like a lot of times those runners will just dry up for no reason. This one's not super exciting. This is actually just a propagation from, I think I have the mother plant in my bedroom, and this one was kind of just looking a little bit sad, like it was drying up, and I was just gonna cut it off and throw it away. But I was like, I'll just propagate it and see if I can sell it, and then it pushed out this. So I think I'm not gonna be selling this. I'm just probably gonna give it away or give it to a neighbor or something. It's just not really like sale worthy, I guess. It looks kind of sad, but it's just been sitting in my cabinet in the meantime. This is a Hoya Elliptica. Got this one from Jing? Jing, is it you? I didn't even know that it was pushing out all of these new leaves down here, and then even down here, there's like 2 growth points that are bright green. It looks like it's waking up. So I think this one should be a little tiny bush in no time. I love these veins, these like light green veins. I love like the pattern of the venation. It's so cute. And these are very fuzzy. They're fully hardened off, but they're fuzzy. They feel like the Hoya Bertoniae. It's really nice, and it's hard to see, but it does have sort of that abbey texture as well, just not as sunken in. But there's a lot of really good things about this Hoya that I love. 1, 2, there's only a few left in here. Let's just try and get through this before I pass out. This is some kind of orchid. I don't know the name specifically. I got this one from my friend Nessa. She had it as a mother plant and she separated it. I do think I need to get it out of here because it's super thirsty, and I don't know, I need to find a way to keep it hydrated because I just soaked this in water like 2 or 3 days ago, and it's already drying out. Like that little dried edge was not there before, and it's really soft, whereas normally it's like really plump. And even when I soak this, it's like in 2 days or 3 days, it's like dry again. So I don't know, I gotta figure this one out. But this one's really fun. I don't want to kill it because I would like to see it get really long. It would be really cute in there with my Hoyas. But this is one of, I think I have 4 orchids total in my collection right now. I'm not 100% sure, but this is one of the newer ones. Guys, I don't feel well. I feel like my voice, I'm getting like more nasally as time goes on. I'm actually very hot. I'm like getting hot flashes. Okay, the next one is one you've seen. I'm not gonna go too in depth about this one. If you guys watched my June favorites updates video that I posted a few weeks ago, I talked a bit about this Euphorbia. I decided to move it in there just because, I don't know, there were some empty gaps in here that I wanted to fill in. And someone had mentioned that this one maybe needed a little bit more light than I was giving it. So I'm testing the theory. You guys, I'm losing my voice. I'm testing the theory. I am testing the theory if it needs more light. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I can't talk. Oh my gosh, my voice is going away. I had to change because I seriously thought I was gonna pass out. I don't know if I wanna take this out. I felt like it was kind of hard to get in here. Oh no, it's connected. Oh no. How about, okay, I'll show you this one. I hope that I'm remembering this name right, but this is I think a Brassivola cuculata, another one of the orchids that I have. This is the one that people were calling the chive orchid when I first got it. It's very thirsty, you guys. So many of my orchids are just not getting enough hydration. I think I read that Tylor at I forgot his handle. He was talking about his orchid care and how he soaks them every day, and I was like, nope, it's not me. I can't do it. I don't have that kind of dedication and commitment to my plants. I think if you guys have been here long enough, you know that I do pour a lot of myself into my plants because it's kind of like my only priority right now besides Pudge and my job. But for me to soak something every single day, it's probably not gonna happen. So I think what I might need to do is, I don't know, I don't really want to, but I think it would help if I wrapped this in like saran wrap to keep that moisture enclosed in there for longer, but it would be so ugly. And I know that this string here is really ugly and just kind of clashes with it. I just replaced it, but over time, a lot of algae forms on this and it gets a lot darker and it basically becomes invisible. So this is just a brand new string and just give it time. But yeah, this one's really thirsty. I'm just surprised it's alive. My friend Sarah at Garnish Garden picked this up for me at, I forgot which nursery it was on the east side. I think it's, yeah, I saw it on their Instagram and was like, I need this, and she sent one to me. So I don't want to kill it because we went through a lot to get it here. I'm not going to remove this little thing. I'm just going to take you over there because it's a whole thing. I'll show you. This is my, why can't I even remember the name? This is like one of the most common Hoyas that you can get at the store. And I got this one from Alice not too long ago. All of this down here off of this growth point is brand new, and a lot of the splashes on it are pink. I didn't know that they can be pink, but apparently it's pink. And then up here I have another sort of orchid cactus guy that I got from my friend Jen, and all of this is brand new. When she gave it to me, it was just this up here with these two little arms, and then this thing grew, and yeah, it's gotten significantly larger, and I just kind of love how wild it's growing. I love the growth pattern of them. I love the shape of these leaves. And there's another growth point that is waking up there that's not focusing. The reason I couldn't take it out is because I actually have connected these together so that it kind of cascades on the right side of this, and then I've got a plant here. So when you're trying to fit in your plants into your space, I guess, don't be scared to kind of like stick things together, wrap things around other things, because I just feel like it kind of makes it all look really cohesive. I don't know, it just brings it all together really well. And then this trellis here is from the Pup and Bud. I never really had a plant that I felt like should be on it until this one, and it's actually, it looks really nice on it. And hopefully we get some more leaves along these long runners, but it actually looks pretty cool that it's just sort of down there. And then in the corner there, I just have one of my rickrack cactus. That one I was gonna sell too, and then I don't know, I just decided to stick it in here, and it's actually a nice addition. That's pretty much everything except for my dead Spanish moss in the corner. All right guys, so that is it for the show and tell of the Hoyas. I'm not gonna take you through the cacti because I'm not focusing on the cacti in this video, and I'm actually gonna be moving them out. Anyway, I am gonna cut today here. I'm gonna take some NyQuil, go to sleep. Fingers crossed I'm feeling better tomorrow. Hello everyone. It is a new day and I still feel like I have a cold, but I did take DayQuil, so I'm in a little bit better shape than yesterday. Pudge. I just wanted to show a few things before I got into the cabinet today. The first one is my Hoya Mathilde that was severely dehydrated yesterday. You can see the pretty like stark difference between what it looked like yesterday and what it looks like now. You can't really see a lot of that veining. The leaves have plumped up. They're a lot firmer and they just look pretty. And my niece is calling. Hi, Chico.
Hi.
Hi, babe. I don't even know where I was. I think I showed you the Hoya Mathilde. I'm just gonna start over. I gave it a good watering last night. She's like nice and firm again. So she's very forgiving when you forget to water, but I wouldn't recommend letting it dry out as much as I did too often. The next ones are the two orchids that were very dehydrated as well. This one, I'm so sorry, I don't know the name of it. It still looks a little bit wrinkly, but it's actually a lot firmer than it was yesterday. So I think I'm gonna have to give these a good soak at least once a week. Pudge, babe. We just got back from a walk. This is the Brassivola cuculata. It is still a little wrinkly, but definitely a lot more firm than yesterday in terms of like, you know, the stiffness or whatever. I have to be better about soaking my orchids because I don't want them to die. I love them very much, which reminds me I have one more orchid in my exo that I need to soak. What I'm going to do basically today is get everything out, give it a good clean down the glass, clean down the shelves, clean down everything, just get it completely empty, and then I'm gonna add another grid, remove this shelf, get all the cacti out, move this light up. So I don't think that I'm going to be talking much during the refresh because I just kind of want to get it done, and I've already sort of told you the gist of what I plan to do with it. I think maybe I'll only stop the video when I'm adding different elements from around the apartment. Basically, I want it to look a little bit more wild in there. I know it kind of looked wild before, but I think it only looked wild because everything was really like squeezed together and it looked really full, but like meaning I want to bring more elements of wood. I want to add like the extra cork, I think it's called corkwood that I have. I might have some like branches that I've foraged from outside that I can also bring in. Eventually I will pick up more air plants and stuff to add throughout, but the goal for today and in this video is just to kind of get the bones set, and then maybe in part 2 I'll show you guys how I decorate it even more once I've purchased everything that I need for it. But otherwise, I'm kind of excited to get started. I just need to figure out where I'm gonna put all these cacti. I was kind of thinking, I have this south-facing window over here, if you guys are familiar with the orientation and setup of my apartment. It's this big south-facing window. I kind of thought about building out like a shelf that would fit in the window, and then I can just kind of like, you know, get all the cacti in the window, but I don't know. I always feel really like hesitant about doing installs like that since I'm renting, and that seems like something that would be somewhat permanent-ish, and I'm trying to not damage the apartment so much so that we can get our deposit back. So I don't know, I'm not sure. I might need to just stick them somewhere temporary for now, but that is the plan for today, and let's just get started. This is not ideal. Guys, this is forever. This isn't coming off. This is a freaking microfiber on a cactus. Great, awesome. All right, so the Rudsta is clean. I added a second light, and you would have seen that I added an absurd amount of sticky tape because I already know this thing is gonna come crashing down in like 5 seconds, which makes me a little bit nervous, but I don't know how else to keep it up. I feel like I've tried every single kind of double-sided tape under the sun, even ones that were recommended by people who are literally using the same light in this cabinet, and they've all toppled down. So I don't know what it is, but I did find another grid, so I'm gonna get them up. I just don't know the orientation just yet. Okay, audio might be weird because you guys are literally inside of the Rudsta. I really hate what's going on over here, so I think I'm gonna try and mask it by going like this and then somehow covering the whole thing. I have this extra grid here. I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna use it yet. I think I'm gonna start placing things first and see where I could use this. So this is the cork wood that I was talking about, and I do have some other pieces in here that I can use. Like, I've got this one from an old fish tank that might be cool, like on the floor somewhere. And I think eventually maybe I might get some live moss or even like fake moss just to make it a little bit more green. I might go to Michael's sometime this week or next week and just see what I can find. But this one might be a cool little addition in here. I used to have my Burley Marks Fantasy climbing on it and then it outgrew it. Wow, this thing is dirty. There goes all my cleaning. Really? So I'm not sure where I want to put this. All right, so what I need to do is tie a string around it so that I can hang it. Oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna bother. It's gonna get so dirty again. Before things get a little bit too packed, I'm just going to give you kind of a rundown of what everything is looking like in this corner first. I secured the grid using 3 of the magnetic hooks, and then as you saw, I wrapped some string around this piece of cork wood, and then I used one of my hooks to hook on the string to the grid, which is how the wood is hanging. And then I added another hook onto the hole on the pot in this Hoya wayetii, and I hooked it onto the string, if that makes sense, so that this Hoya wayetii is hanging off of here. And then same for this, I have a hole inside of this little container, and then I used another hook and I just hooked it onto this grid. I'm not feeling super confident about this holding a ton of weight, to be honest. The stuff that I hung off of it before were very light plants, and some of these are very heavy. So I'm gonna try and keep it to a minimum until I can order more hooks. Ideally, I think I'd wanna add 2 more hooks up here as well as on this grid. So let me move you over this way. Down here, I have another grid hooked on with 3 magnetic hooks. I have my orchid cactus here hanging in the middle to kind of hide some of this overlap. My little rickrack cactus is hanging in the corner by a suction cup. And then down here, this is gonna be sort of my base to get everything sort of set here. This thing is still very wet and dripping. So up here, I do have sort of an idea of the Hoyas that I want to hang on there, but I don't have any more hooks, and I think I'm gonna need ones that are a little bit stronger than that since they're heavier. Most of my Hoyas are in pawn, and I'm gonna like spread them out throughout here and also do like some air plants or whatever, but I don't have anything right now that I can use, so that's gonna be for part 2, but I will show you how I lay out the rest of the Hoyas down here, but just keep in mind this video isn't going to be the complete sort of setup. They're in. I wasn't able to fit everything in here just because I'm really not trying to push how much weight I'm putting on these grids while there's only 3 hooks on there. Honestly, I would recommend either getting magnetic hooks that can hold at least 10 pounds and then put like 3 to 5 of them. Might seem excessive, but I'm a little bit nervous that this thing is just gonna come crashing down. And if it did, that would be an absolute freaking nightmare. So I think that they're not as strong as I thought they were. So yeah, I do have stuff like this that I haven't put in. My little Euphorbia globosa. Essentially, these are things that I would eventually want to, like, you know, hang here and like put up here. Like, I'm trying to sun stress this one, so I want it to be super close to the grow light. But I don't have the things I need. I think I might even end up getting like a basket, like one of those hanging baskets to put up here. There's a lot of room for improvement. Ideally, I'd love to see all of this covered in just plants. And I know a lot of people, I know that there's people out there that don't like their plants touching, or they like to have some space, but for me, I love it just looking crazy and looking like a jungle, so I just try and cram as many as I can into a space. So yeah, I'm actually happy now that I have a lot more room for Hoyas. I kind of just set all of these down on the bottom here just to make them fit in the meantime. But I think in about a week or 2, I'll be ready to do the second round of refresh and get everything filled in. But I'm happy, I've got some space, and I think that it's going to be a Hoya packed summer. That was so corny. Okay, I'm just gonna give you guys some up close shots of what it looks like now, and then I think we'll wrap up this video. overall thoughts, it does look a lot emptier than when it started. I actually really liked the way that it was set up before this, but that was like the most that I could fit in there. So I'm really glad that I expanded the space. I really loved seeing just Hoyas in here now. I can't wait till the entire grid is filled and this little empty corner is filled and I can get all my little air plants and decorations. I might even add like my little gnome guy in here. Not quite sure where it's going yet, but I think once I collect more things for it, I'll have a better idea. So keep an eye out for part 2 where I get it looking a little bit more lush. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what was in here and kind of how I set like the foundation for the cabinet. Hopefully it was helpful to anyone who has been thinking of maybe converting their Rudsta into a Hoya cabinet or already has one and isn't sure how to set it up. I will try and link everything that I've used in the description below. I don't know if I'll be able to find everything, but I will try. But I think that is it for me today. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up because it helps Pudgeonize visibility a lot on YouTube. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching another video. I appreciate all of you so much, and I will see you in the next one.